the biggest thing I really wanted to talk about is uh, doing and making sure that the practice understands their costs and also the segments of their practice. It could be like hygienists. And what are the hygienists? What are the fees that are being billed through that part of the practice, and also the hygienist labor? Or it could be, each doctor or associates and how much they're earning in practice and how much you're paying them out, because those are really big pieces of understanding the business. So I've seen it often, we'll just put it that way. People don't understand, they just figure they're making money, but they don't understand where their segments are. You have to really look at the model and where you're at. And is it, as with almost every business, there are more profitable areas than other areas. So maybe like a cleaning is a gateway into some of the other things that you do. All right. So you're only making a small percentage or a smaller percentage on your dental cleanings, but that sets up the fillings and crowns and whatever else you have that you're doing. So and that segues into the x-rays and all of those things. Those are cost centers potentially, and profit centers. And so looking at those and tracking those, I do like to use some industry standards to try and compare where you're at, compare it to your brethren or the industry. The other pieces that is important, I believe, is how many new clients are you bringing in versus how many repeat clients do you have? And how often are they coming in, and are they following up? All this, a lot of it's in their practice management systems, of which I think everybody has. It's just they don't really look at it, so you kind of got to put it in front of them.
Right.
Just make sure that they have it, so that if this historical trends are that you pick up 30 new patients a month or whatever it is, and all of a sudden you're down to 22 new patients a month, you might not feel it, but you will eventually feel it.
Right.
And it might just be kind of a breath, okay, that this is comfortable or not. But you need to be aware at least, and being able to look at those things. So we try and set up some things so that you have kind of a bulletin board of like, what are you looking at, what are you tracking, and what have you done, so that you don't get to the end of the year and go, well, I guess we missed our goal. Hopefully you can measure that and look at that immediately and try and make some adjustments and figure out what you're doing now. Is it different than what you did before, or do we need to do something else? And has it run its course? So a chart of accounts is basically a list of accounts that are set up and that a company uses. So if Mary is a hygienist, their paycheck is going to go and track to hygienist payroll, okay, or office expense for supplies there, or dental supplies. All of those things. That's really what it is. It's just a way to categorize all of your expenses into various buckets, if you will. Every business has their own unique accounts. There is a general, pretty much everybody has office supplies or potentially equipment or things like those things, all right? But then each industry will have specific accounts that relate to them personally. I often say most businesses have between 4 and 7 numbers that they really got to pay attention to. Those are the things that they have control over daily. And that's what we really try and focus on. And if we can do those and manage those, and I teach those, then we can kind of go to the next level and say, okay, your insurance cost was at this amount of money and it went up, 45%. That's an annual thing or a semi-annual thing that you can really look at, but it's not something you need to deal with daily. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of at least how I look at financial statements, is saying, okay, let's set goals for how much revenue, how many new patients that we're going to try and get, how much revenue growth we're going to try and do this year. Because of insurances, sometimes our revenue growth is harder now to keep up with inflation versus, our costs, which are always pressing up. So
Mm-hmm.
how do we keep our margins in those realms? And maybe we say, okay, we're going to target, people are just going to pay cash versus all, whatever dental insurance that they're covering. And maybe that's the way they're going to go to do that. And then you just got to use the financials for each area to say, are we doing what we expected?
Mm-hmm.
And that's really the whole game. Detail is good. Minutia is not. If it's like $26 in this account, 103 in that account, when you got $1 million practice or something, it doesn't really matter. Sometimes people kind of go over the top with what they're trying to record or to follow. But as far as taxes, there are certain things that we definitely have to track and to put into buckets. And obviously you don't want just everything in, say, 3 accounts, like, payroll, rent, and everything else. Okay, that's not a good thing either. So there's a happy medium. I always think that in my world it's called cost of goods sold, but those are the direct costs to whatever business that they are or they have, and hopefully those are the things that they have control over potentially daily. Those are more important to me, and it's always kind of funny when I look at a chart of accounts, since we're talking about that. Those buckets, there's not that many of them, 3, 4, 5 maybe, and in the operating expenses, they might have 20, 30 accounts down there, and it's like most of these don't matter. Okay, it's those direct costs that we really have to focus on. Then we can look at a few of those things, semi-annually or annually. So anyway, as far as the tax returns go, yes, some things do need to be tracked separately, and we do. As long as it's an expense of the business, it usually ends up, it's all the deduction to the bottom line.
Are you a dental practitioner starting a dental business and in need of CPA services? Explore our core services on our website at sjwickcpa.com or give us a call at 970-224-3366. Whether you're seeking increased profits, payroll assistance, or tax relief, we're fully committed to your success.